Tonight, we continue researching the implications from what is called COVID long haul, symptoms that plague those who were once infected.
Senior health correspondent Monica Robbins highlights a condition that may have doubled or even tripled in cases now linked to COVID-19.
We met Marissa Durand last summer, a standout volleyball player at CSU, sidelined by the aftermath of COVID.
There was times where I would completely collapse to the floor. There's been other times. The most common for me now is my vision will go out and I'll just kind of hold on to something.
Marissa is the face of COVID long-haul patients, young, healthy, but not immune. Doctors diagnosed her with POTS, Postural Orthostatic Tachycardia syndrome. It impacts blood pressure and heart rate. Doctors say it's becoming a frequent diagnosis in post-COVID patients.
They had mild COVID, and then they recovered. Then a few weeks later, they developed these symptoms: the lightheadedness, fatigue, racing heart rate, brain fog. Most of them are women.
The condition debilitated Marissa. Her volleyball team played on without her. Not only could Marissa no longer play, she could barely move.
My parents had to make me breakfast. My parents had to make me lunch. I have to sit down in the shower, just very limited in what I could handle. There was times where my mom had to help me walk up the stairs to my bedroom.
Oh, it's heartbreaking, especially for young individuals like Marissa.
Marissa's cardiologist, Dr. Tamanna Singh at Cleveland Clinic, says post-COVID symptoms impacting the heart can last weeks. But in Marissa's case, it's been more than a year. She's now taking beta blocker medication.
I will say it did help me a lot. It was the only medication that was able to bring my heart rate down and not give me a whole bunch of extra negative side effects.
Dr. Wilson and his team now have a data bank filled with long COVID POTS cases they're studying, with findings ready to share at a conference with other physicians.
We've sort of thumbprinted and identified patterns in these patients to really create this awareness. Again, mild COVID. They weren't necessarily debilitated, more of women than men. Things we see maybe as risk factors, common symptoms.
With sports now out of the picture, Marissa is moving forward, focusing on a health sciences major. Her current assignment? A paper on her own condition to help others understand the impact on her life.
At this point, I think most people would look at me and say, oh, she's totally back to normal. And to an extent, I do agree with that, but it's not the normal that I used to be used to, really.
Research into the best treatment for long COVID-associated POTS continues. There is hope that targeted medication may help, but this condition is often brushed off as an anxiety disorder. Dr. Wilson hopes awareness will get people the help they need. Currently, it's estimated about 43% of people who tested positive for COVID are dealing with the COVID long haul. Monica Robbins, 3 News.